Everything in your life, when we're talking about the universe, is everything that happens to you for a reason, for you to learn from it. Okay. We're suffering consequences of our ignorance. You've heard the term, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Ignorance of the law, they're talking about those universal laws that I just mentioned. They're talking about those 7 hermetic principles. You're just thinking, oh, it's ignorance of the man's law. No, ignorance of the universal law is no excuse. What does that mean? So when you go out and you do something that is not in harmony with the universal laws, then you've got to suffer the consequences of that. Example, you go out, let's say you take something, and I've had so many people who think, oh, it's okay for me to just take this little whatever from the store because these people have been stealing from us. So because of that mindset, you go out and you think it's okay for you to take something. You think it's okay for you to take something because you think nobody saw you. But the truth is, you're always seen. The universe always sees you. You cannot do something without it coming back on you. So whatever energy you put out, by law must come back. And please don't ever think that nobody saw you in your dirty deed. You are always being seen. You are always being watched. Your every energy must be returned to you by law. So now, when we say ignorance of the law is no excuse, well, when you take that, and then somebody comes along and they steal something from you, and the first thing you want, I can't have nothing. We can't have nothing. No, not when you're stealing from others. You can't. But when you put out this kind of energy by law, it must come back to you. Well, we didn't know. What ignorance of the law is no excuse. When you put that energy out, it must be returned to you by law. I'm going to give you another example of ignorance of the law is no excuse. And I end up stepping on people's toes when I talk about this. And this is not my desire to be hurtful to anyone or step on anyone's toes. But let's understand ignorance of the law is no excuse and how it comes to fruition. And you can see it in your everyday world. We have been told to join the military, and it's a privilege to serve your country, and it's an honor to serve your country. And so they send people over to these other lands, and they have you doing things where you're pillaging and you're robbing and you're stealing and you're harming and you're killing. And for the person who's in the military, that soldier serving, it is, well, I was just doing my job. That's what they told me to do. That's what they trained me to do. And so you go to this other country and you harm and you rob and you pillage and you kill. And for you, I'm just doing my duty. And they've made you believe that you're serving your country, when the truth is anything you're doing over in another country, all you're doing is serving a private corporation for the purpose of money, period. It's never because you're trying to serve your country and you're protecting it. It's never about that. So you go over and you do these things in the name of serving your country and protecting your country and being honorable. And then you hurt people over here, and you think when you leave there, you're going to come back to your country and everything is going to be okay. Well, that's not how it works. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. When you've put that energy out, by law, it must come back. That's by law. And for you say, well, I didn't know, Diva. We was just doing what we were told. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So here's the deal. The one who told you to do it, they're going to get theirs at some point. However, whomever it is, whoever's hand it is that does that harm, they got to receive that by law. And so when I get back to those 12 universal laws that I'm talking about, and we're speaking about ignorance of the law is no excuse, that's what we're talking about. And it's unfortunate, but again, I say to you, we should have known this when we were a child. You should know that before you going into school. Because when you know those laws, all this stuff about bullying and all that will cease and desist. You don't have to be writing any laws talking about no bullying. Give me a break. The real law is those 12 universal laws. I have them right here. Some of you all purchased the book, the beginner law book, and when you did purchase it, this is the beginner law book. You would find these universal laws. Here's the universal laws, the 12 universal laws. Now, it's important, go look those up. When you have those laws, a whole bunch of things in your life, when you start being in harmony with those laws, all this drama, all this mess, child bullying, being fearful about somebody stealing something, all that goes away when you operate in harmony with the universal laws. That's how that works. Universal laws, very, very important that you understand what they are. We should have been taught these things from the beginning, because that would eliminate so many things. So I just talked to you about how you've got, these soldiers that go and do these things that they're taught. And then the only thing they know to say is, well, that's what I was told. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And so when we're talking about all of this, when you're putting these energies out, it must come back.